When I started editing videos, I had no idea how to edit audio. So in this tutorial, I want to explain you my process in Final Cut Pro, how I edit audio, how to make the voice loud and clear, how to cut with music, and which effects I use to make the best audio possible without having a lot of technical knowledge about the audio techniques. This is meant for beginners, but maybe if you have already edited some videos, you learn one thing or two. To take the best out of this tutorial, I recommend that you wear headphones while watching this, because you're going to be able to differentiate better before and after the effects are applied than if you do it with speakers. So let's go to Final Cut Pro. I'm going to use a sample video that I recorded. What I normally do is I record the audio separately from the video source, so I can have my microphone close to my mouth. Otherwise, when you have it in the camera, the in-camera microphone is not as good. But even if you connect the microphone there, is not the best sound quality because it's far away from you. So what I normally do is to connect my microphone to my phone, record it with voice memos, and have the microphone next to me. If you don't have a good microphone, I recommend that you check this video that I recorded previously, where I talk about my microphone that I use and the one that you're listening to now. So I have both the video and the audio here. I'm going to start by synchronizing these two. You can do that by selecting both clips and right-click Synchronize clips. The default parameters are nice, so what I'm going to do is to call this, I think it's good with the name of the file and synchronize clip. So this can take from 5 to 10 seconds to synchronize, depending on the length of the video. Then you get one file that combines both the video source and the audio. These two are now synced. Let's create a new timeline where I'm going to edit this video. Let's call this timeline, just to simplify. And I'm going to drag the new video that has the good audio in it. And you can see that there's a lot of audio, but the videos, so it's only the part that has video and audio there. And what I like to do before starting editing audio is to create a compound clip. You can do that by pressing Alt-G or right-click New Compound Clip. And I'm going to call this a roll clip. This creates a new layer that you can edit things below and then cut on top of it, and all the effects that you apply to the layer below are applied to all the cuts, so you don't need to copy and paste the effects later. Now with the synchronized clip, you have two audio sources. The connected one is the good audio because it's the external file, and storyline is the in-camera microphone in this case, so you can compare the difference. That this needs to go, this is to cover the port that you are not using. If you're recording, for example, with USB, you need to cover the jack audio. Okay, you can listen that there's a lot of more of room noise in the camera microphone, and also the quality is not as good. But both of the audios are quite quiet. So the first effect that I like to apply to every clip that I record is the compressor. You can find it here in the effects tab. You type compressor and this is the effect. Compressor takes the quietest parts of the audio clip and increases the volume in those cases. So all the parts are more or less balanced. That's the first thing that you want to apply. When you apply the compressor, you're going to see that the waveform changes and everything is louder because it was a bit quieter before. So that's how it sounds before. That this is to cover the port that you're not using. If you're recording, for example, with USB, you can see that the sound is now louder, but I still think that the volume is a little bit low. So the next effect that I'm going to apply is called adaptive limiter. And this will not only increase the volume by the amount that you put in the gain parameter, but also it's going to prevent that the audio clips because it's going to limit the maximum volume. Let's start with the default settings and see how it changes. That this needs to go, that this is to cover the port that you're not using. You see the audio meters that the sound is most of the times a minus 6 dB, which is a good target. I usually try to target minus 6 dB. It is far away from the zero, and everything above the zero is going to clip the audio and sound pretty bad. I can show you how this would. When you see red lines in the timeline, is that this part is clipping, and this sounds like this. Jack audio, if you record, it is not the best sound quality, and also you see the red lines here. If you cannot see the audio meters here, you can go to Window, Showing Workspace Audio Meters. This will show you this. I normally extend it so it's bigger while I'm editing audio and make it smaller when I'm editing video. Your goal is to never have red lines in the audio because that's going to sound pretty bad. So let's reset this to what I had. I think now it's in a good spot. Let's listen to something that I'm actually talking. Windshield plus the microphone, it cost me about 130 euros. And the good part is that I still think it's a bit low, the volume. I would increase it a little bit more, maybe 5 dB. But this is to cover the port that you're not using. Now you can see that -6 is the... If you're recording, for example, with USB, you need to cover the... Okay, so we are good for now. I normally use these effects with the default parameters, but sometimes I tweak it a little bit, for example, with the adaptive limiter, the gain, but I leave the rest to the default parameters. It's not that I want to complicate the editing process. While raising the volume, you're going to notice another problem is that you're raising the volume of the voice, but also you're raising the volume of the room. So you're going to get, if there's background noise while recording, you're going to get more of this background noise. And also you get the noise that the microphone produces most of the times. So let's try to now reduce this background noise and make it sound better. For that, I'm using the voice isolation tool from Final Cut Pro. You need to be careful while using this jack audio. With USB, this is the before. You must use this to cover the audio jack, and the other way around. If you record with the after, you cover this with USB, so the wind doesn't. Sometimes it's very subtle, the difference, but helps reducing that noise. The default value is 50%. Depending on the situation, it is too much and you want to reduce it. Even if there's some background noise, I would keep it at 40 or 35%. Because otherwise it starts to sound fake. It sounds robotic and it removes the natural sound of the voice. So be careful with this one. And sometimes it doesn't work either. So you would need to use other solutions. Another way to remove the background noise, if there's a lot or the sound is pretty bad, is using the Adobe podcast tool. They have this tool that's called Enhanced Speech. You drop the file here and you get a corrected one. Again, you need to be using this carefully. Sometimes it's too much and sometimes it sounds unnatural, but it could fix a sound that you have recorded and you cannot repeat. I would recommend it in case that the Final Cut voice isolation feature is not enough, and I would try to see what I get here. There's a subscription upgrade for this one that you can change the intensity of the effect. In the free version, you don't get this feature, but sometimes it's good enough. The last effect that I apply sometimes, this is a personal taste, but I normally do the Equalizer to increase the bass part of the voice, so it sounds more like a podcast kind of thing. Depending on the clip, I use it or not, but I'm going to show you how I do it. I use this equalization setting and I use the bass boost. The default is this one. And the other way around. If you record with the audio jack, you cover this with USB, so the wind doesn't enter the camera. It's subtle as well, but it makes a difference. You can see that it increases the low frequencies. And you can tweak this as well if you want it more bassy or less. You can tweak these values here and make it more adjusted to your taste. Normally, the default parameters are good for most cases. When you have all the effects applied and you like it, you can save the effects as another effect. So you get all these settings for the next video that you're doing. So you can do this like sound improve, something like this. And then this would be saved here. And whenever you drag and drop this effect, you get all the effects that you applied previously, and you don't get to do this every time. Now let's talk about music. Your voice can sound fantastic, but whenever you put music, you need to be careful that you mix it properly. This is a mistake that I was doing when I started doing videos. I drag and drop the song and I never adjusted the volume and the song was too loud. And then for the A-roll part was too quiet, and then the B-roll was too loud, and then people had to adjust the volumes up and down, and it was very annoying. Sometimes the background music could be also too loud and difficult to hear the voice. So let me explain you what I do now and how I fix this issue. Let me find some song. I don't know, maybe this one. Yeah, this one's good. So as you can see, when I drag and drop this song, it's already too loud. You can see the red markers there. So yeah, if you play the music on top of it, if you're recording with USB, you must use this. It is too loud already. When I talk, I like to have the music between -20 and -25 dB. So I could do -20 to start and see. Well, and the other way around. If you record with the audio jack, you cover this with USB. So if you're recording with, you need to check the loudest parts of the music to see if it's this to cover the audio jack. And I still think this record with the audio jack, you cover this with USB. So yeah, let's go for -25. If you're recording with USB, you must use this to cover the. And then if there's some B-roll, let's imagine there's a B-roll section here, you would increase the volume of the clip. But if you put it to 0, which is what I was doing before, through that port. It could be too loud as well. Remember that we were targeting -6 dB for the voice. But depending on the music, it would be even lower. So I would go for between -6 and -12, depending on the song. Something like this, I think it would work. So the wind doesn't. Now it feels balanced, and the latest trick that you can do for that is to unplug your headphones, listen with the speakers, because it's going to be more difficult to listen to the voice with the speakers and see if it still sounds okay. The headphones are good for understanding the subtle differences between one thing or the other, but with volume it's good to do this exercise of unplugging the headphones and using the speakers, because most of the people are not going to wear headphones while watching your videos. Maybe they use their phone or they use the speakers of their laptop or their TV. So you're going to be able to notice better these problems while listening to the speakers. For the music of my videos, I'm using Epidemic sound, and they are not sponsoring this video, but I wanted to mention that I love one of their features, and this one is called stems. And I mentioned this because now that we're editing audio, I'm realizing that I need to cover this part, because if the song has someone singing, if it has vocals, and you're talking on top of it, it is the same frequencies that you are having in the song and in the voice. So one good trick is to keep the vocals for the B-roll part and remove it for when you're talking, so it's not clashing one to the other and your voice can be heard perfectly. This is an example of a song that I got from Epidemic Sound. I got these 5 different tracks that I can drag and drag it to the project, and I can create a compound clip of all of that. Like this is called. So now I have this song in the compound clip. All the layers are one on top of the other, and you can see that there's this one called melody. So you can press V to unplug this one, or put the melody if you want it back. So what I'm going to do is to create a compound clip of the instruments that I want to keep in the talking part, and then I can have the melody and the instruments separately and use this here and do something like this, where I keep the melody for the B-roll section and remove it from the non-B-roll one, and it's also cutting good. Enter the camera, cover the audio jack. Let's keep the volumes where it's not too loud. Recording with USB, you must use this to cover the audio jack. If you have only the instrumental part, you can have the music a little bit louder because it's not going to create a big of a problem with the voice on top of it. But you can keep in mind, need to keep in mind that it shouldn't be too loud. But now I have like the audio jack. You cover this with USB, so the wind doesn't enter the audio through that port. And whenever the B-roll part starts, I put the vocals again. It's really cool that you're able to do this and keep the mix of the song the way that you like and the way that it works for your video. So that's it for this video. Hope you liked it. I hope you find it useful. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. So bittersweet.